Okay, so how did Golden Guardians defeat Team Liquid, Darin?
By destroying their Nexus. I think Emily probably has a little bit more of the specifics. Surenfire actually had like 3 kills. He wasn't particularly the problem. What actually ended up happening early on was Keith and FBI asserting their dominance early in the bottom lane and getting an early game kill. And kind
As everyone predicted.
Yeah, right? No, I saw that. I saw that, and I went right into our Slack chat, and it was like, first blood? Bottom lane? What? This isn't going to go well.
I started like laughing hysterically in the airport. I'm pretty sure people thought I was crazy. I was just like,
I mean,
okay.
from there, it wasn't like an immediate downward spiral, but Golden Guardians looked just in control, I think, for most of the game. I think Golden Glue was picked on. His Zoe was 0-3 at one point, which didn't bode well. I was like, oh crap! If they're going to get into this game, it's going to be through Jensen in mid lane, because Golden Glue doesn't have really any impact, and he was missing some bubbles and sleepy times and all that kind of stuff. But props to Golden Guardians overall for setting a tone and then following through with it.
Emily, one of the takeaways from this week for Team Liquid was this wasn't Surenfire's fault. This isn't they're going to get better once Broxah arrives. A lot of Team Liquid fans left this game thinking, wow, we have a lot more problems than we originally thought. What was your vantage point?
So I have a few things to say about this, actually. The first, I think everyone's going to kind of go in on the Senna pick and just be like, don't pick Senna. And C9, I believe, is one of the only NA teams to be successful with Senna, if I recall correctly. I think that the big thing for TL that I see is that it's not, first of all, it's not Surenfire's fault. As I've said on this show, and I've said on Rift Rewind, and I've repeated it over and over again, I always hate when young players are put into a position like this where there's a ton of pressure, and if they don't perform, people make really sweeping judgments about the entirety of their careers as if they can't learn. So hopefully that doesn't happen to Surenfire, and hopefully people aren't blaming him a lot. When I look at Team Liquid in this game, I actually think you can see that their fundamental macro is better in the game still, which is probably the most frustrating thing about watching them right now, is that it comes down to decision making, it comes down to the compositions that they're picking. And I think I actually went back because I wanted to make a comparison that, I have to bring everything back to the LPL. When Mage bot lanes opened up in summer of 2018, there was one team that was unsurprisingly still not playing them, and it was RNG with Uzi. If you look at their patterns, the only times they played kind of a different bot lane, I think they had Abel play Yasuo a couple of times, so they would swap in another bot laner to play those champions. Meanwhile, Uzi would pick Vayne before he'd ever pick Swain or Ryze or any other mage that people were throwing down in that lane. So I think my insistence to Team Liquid is you do have a better fundamental understanding of how to play the game than most teams in NA. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for saying that, but I still think that, and I still think you can see that by their map movements. However, the problem is if you have a new jungler who's still, technically getting used to the position in his new region with his new team, you need to make sure you're picking pushing lanes. I think when we've seen TL perform the best, it's when they've stuck to what they're really good at, which is relying on the mechanical strength of their laners across all 3 lanes and picking out stuff that will push out to cover up for Surenfire. It just gives him more cover, right? This isn't even covering up for his deficiencies. It just, when you have pushing lanes, you can push out, you can set your vision further, and he can do more stuff without having to worry about counter juggling as much, without having to worry about roaming from the enemy mid laner, roaming down from the top laner, roaming up from the support, any of that. He has to worry about it less if they have more vision coverage and the lanes are pushed out. And this Senna pick, I'm not going to say don't pick Senna. She's actually super strong, and I know, again, NA teams have generally been struggling with her. She's a really strong pick. I think that if you have this jungler who is not going to be your starting jungler, you're waiting for your starting jungler to come, which is still going to be a process ingratiating him onto the team once he arrives. Pick pushing lanes. Pick standard 80 carries. Like, pick stuff that you're comfortable with. I think sometimes that's a criticism of Team Liquid that we've had, is that they always pick stuff that they're comfortable with and they're too comfortable. But in this situation where, again, you have a substitute jungler, you're going to be waiting for your jungler to come in. I think, why not just pick stuff that you already know you're good at? That's it. Like, I don't see, I guess, I know that, again, these things are strong, right? Like, I saw Rumble mid was before the LPL went on hiatus. That's a great pick. You can push out the wave, you can roam. It's a great pick for someone like, say, Doinby. But in terms of when I think of Jensen, I think of him as just this incredibly strong mechanical laner. Like, take advantage of that. Take a matchup where he's going to dominate it and hold that lane for Surenfire. Like, they have the tools to win, and they have the fundamentals, and it's really frustrating to see them, again, like, this is a criticism we've had with them in the past when they've had a full lineup, and we're looking at them performing internationally, and we're like, okay, how much do you guys have to learn to compete with international teams? But in this, in terms of getting back to NA, like the top of NA, I think they really just need to focus on what they're strong at. Play through bot lane, pick a standard A carry for double lift, pick pushing lanes, let's go.